Why is it always the 49ers? Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, a podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Why? Grossi, and today we are going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers falling to the San Francisco 49ers with a score of 24-21. And this is being recorded right now, within an hour of the game ending, and it sucks, man. There's a lot to break down about this game, kind of just my thoughts about it. And the initial reaction is a couple things. One, they had him. Like, the Packers legitimately had the number one seed in the NFC at home. They had an amazing chance to beat them. But as Packers fans have seen this movie over and over and over again, they just couldn't get it done. And there's a lot to break down about Joe Barry, about Carlson, about Jordan Love, about the run game, about a number of things. But there's also some optimism. And I don't think I'm there just yet. We'll get there by the end of the episode. But yeah, let me just give you kind of like my initial thoughts here. The Packers came in with a great game plan. Aaron Jones ran the ball really well when he was given the ball. 18 for 108. Pretty damn great start. They had long, sustained drives, especially in that first half. They just couldn't capitalize and get it into the end zone. Of course, ending with 2 field goals. The Packers also blocked a field goal from the 49ers and only allowed a touchdown in the first half. And that's great. I mean, the defense in the first half played really, really well, only allowing 1 score. And the Packers offense just moved the ball really, really well, but then they just couldn't punch it into the end zone. On top of that, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to complain about the refs because at this point, it's whatever. Packers going for it on 4th down. They couldn't get it while they were in San Francisco territory. That wound up hurting them because that cost them potentially 3 points if Carlson would have made it. And the way the Packers were executing the game plan, I was really happy with. And you saw a lot from Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs. He was our leading receiver, 4 for 83, had a nice game. Jaden Reed got more involved with the game after not really doing a whole lot in terms of receptions last week against the Cowboys. And you saw the young talent that was on display. The offensive line did an amazing job. I know Jordan Love was pressured a few times, but 0 sacks allowed against that 49ers pass rush is pretty damn amazing. And then heading into the second half, it just seems like the Packers got away from running the ball, and by the time they did, it was a bit too late. On top of that, the offense just could never get that second score. They got the touchdowns that they needed to get that 7-point lead, but every time they had an opportunity, and they had multiple opportunities to get that second score to make it a 2-score game, they just couldn't get it done. And again, they had opportunities in their face, and that's, I think, what hurts the most is not that the Packers lost, but the fact that the Packers played so well, and then it just all fell apart, and they weren't able to just get over the hump. They allowed the 49ers to hang around the game way too long, and again, this is just something that we have seen. When the 49ers were driving on their last drive, which ultimately ended in a Christian McCaffrey touchdown, I was just sitting here on stream going, I hate this because I know what this is because I've seen it over and over again. And for the most part, especially in the first half, the Packers did a really nice job containing all the threats and skill players of the 49ers. Of course, Deebo Samuel leaving that game, so that definitely did not help the 49ers offense. But in the second half, Christian McCaffrey, they committed to the run a little bit more. 17 carries for 98 yards, had 2 touchdowns, of course. George Kittle was their leading receiver, 4 for 81. Juwan Jennings, 5 for 61. To come down to the end, where the Packers had over a minute left, they put the ball in Jordan Love's hands, and unfortunately, Jordan Love just makes a horrible decision. One that we haven't seen him make probably since around mid-season. Just rolling out to his right, throwing across his body, and just chucking it up there in triple coverage. It was just a horrible decision. And, I'm not going to put that all on Jordan Love. He's, young team. There's just a bad decision by him. He'll learn from it. Had a couple of interceptions, that last one being the worst. Carlson, of course, missing a kick. It went wide left just by a little bit. There's going to be a lot of crap thrown about Carlson now. And I just feel bad for the kid because, you're a rookie kicker, just like we have so many rookies on the team or just young and inexperienced guys. And, Matt LaFleur praying every single time that Carlson goes out there. It does remind me a little bit of how bad the special teams were a couple years ago when the Packers played the 49ers in the divisional round before, and how bad our special teams were, and nothing was changed. And then we had a punting attempt get blocked, return for a touchdown. And here, ultimately, it potentially cost us the game. But, that's unfortunately just the ride you have to take with rookie kickers. And I'm sure they're going to bring somebody into camp to compete with Carlson, and whoever does the best job is going to get it. And Carlson has a really good leg. He's got a lot of power there, but the accuracy has been a problem in college. The accuracy has been a problem this season. And while I'm not going to crucify the kid over it, he was also put out there and just couldn't get it done. And I hope he does improve. I hope that he makes that jump next year. But yeah, it was a challenging season for Carlson. And again, just kind of going forward, there's a lot of optimism for the Packers. How young this team was. How many times did I say that we're playing with house money? But man, I just got to be honest. I am so freaking tired of losing to the 49ers, especially when we had them. And this was one of those games where you couldn't put them away. But if you won, I think the Packers are going to the Super Bowl if they win this game. And that's not trying to look past any opponent. It's just that kind of momentum to knock off the 2 seed and make history as the first 7 seed to ever win a playoff game, then to go into Santa Clara and nearly knock off the 49ers. There's a lot to be proud of. We talk about the young, inexperienced guys on this roster. Talk about our secondary, which is almost non-existent in terms of big name guys. Obviously Jair Alexander, but I'm talking about safety units. Darnell Savage having himself a nice season, dropped an interception, unfortunately. But the fact that the Packers are doing it with this wide receiver squad, with that secondary, and able to get this close to knocking off the 1 seed, it's really impressive. And, I think the ceiling is really high. The sky's the limit. And I'm really excited for the future of the Packers. But for it to come crashing down on a Saturday night in a game where the Packers could have won that game and they just didn't put them away, it sucks, man. It's a bit heartbreaking. And now there's a lot to talk about. Joe Barry. I think the defense did, for the most part, a really nice job tonight. I think they were put in some really bad situations and the defense stepped up. Some short fields that the 49ers were dealing with, and the Packers defense, for the most part, held strong. I mean, you look at the box score, they shut them out in the first quarter. They allowed a touchdown in the second, only a touchdown in the third, and 10 points in the fourth. That should be enough points to win the game. And unfortunately, the offense just couldn't get over the hump. And they had opportunities to. They had over a minute to go. And they had 3 timeouts. But unfortunately, it did not go that way. And so going forward, again, lots of excitement. This was a really fun team to watch this season. It's not all doom and gloom. I am very curious what the decision will be on Joe Barry. I think you've kind of seen his ceiling. And LaFleur will just have to make a decision based off that. I think heading into the playoffs, it was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to be gone. But these past 2 games, I think the defense has done a pretty good job under Joe Barry. And then Carlson, I don't think they're going to cut him. Like I said, I think they're going to bring in somebody to compete with him. And Jordan Love is going to remember this one. And the only way that this loss is going to be in the minds of the Packers is if the team doesn't improve. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that those guys on that roster are only going to get better. They're going to get more experience. We're going to add some pieces to the secondary, maybe even the wide receiver core. And with the offensive line playing as well as it did, especially in the back half of the season, you saw how good Jordan Love could be. And unfortunately, he made a terrible decision tonight, at the very end, but he played pretty well besides that. And it cost him, and that's not, the loss is not on Jordan Love. It's not on Carlson. It's kind of a mix of a number of things of just the Packers allowed the 49ers to hang around too long. They couldn't execute when they really needed to, when the game was on the line, or to take a 2-score lead. And eventually they lost the game because of it. So kind of a heartbreaking ending to an amazing season, a great run. Again, a lot to be excited for the future of this team. It just sucks that I can't watch my team anymore. But the fact that we were one of 8 teams remaining, and the fact that they got this close to going to the NFC Championship game, it's cool, but damn, it also makes it hurt a whole lot more. So next year, the expectations will be higher. I don't think we'll be playing with house money heading into the postseason, but unfortunately, we do have to wait until next season. So GG's 49ers fans. They're going to the NFC Championship game, which they will be taking on either the Buccaneers or the Lions in Santa Clara. We'll find out tomorrow. But a heartbreaking end to a great season. And let's just hope that this team can learn and grow from it. And we'll be back right here next year. But of course, let me know what you think down in the comments below. You know, I saw me at Tom Grossi Comedy, all social media you see down below. A big shout out and thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching, because we had over 51,000 people in that stream, which shattered records. I remember vividly having 9 people in that stream when I was just starting out. And for it to be that, after breaking our record on Sunday in the Cowboys game with over 33,000 people, to have over 50,000 people is incredible. So I wanted to take a moment just to thank you. It's been a hell of a season. I'm obviously still going. We got plenty of videos to make. We got the rest of the playoffs. But for the Packers, it is the end. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.